What is happening, Big Brown Breakdown listeners, the Brownies, whatever you guys want to call yourselves. I call you guys heroes. Whatever you guys want to call yourself, though. What's happening? I'm excited to be in studio today. We are back on it. Back in studio. A little bit of a quiet week for the MMA world and boxing world, but coming off UFC 219. A little bit of a snooze fest. Not going to sugarcoat it. A little bit of a snooze fest. You know, these pay-per-views, I said this on the Fire and the Kid yesterday. You know, the UFC, when they do these pay-per-views, they all can't be red and pink starburst. You're gonna get a couple of yellows and oranges just by default. Shit happens. It's out of their hands. So I'll take it. Take the good with the bad. It's all good, man. Things are good. I have 2 sets tonight at the Comedy Store. If you guys are listening to this and you're local in LA, I am at the Comedy Store. Going up twice tonight. I think I'm on at 10. I'm up again at 10:45 in the belly room and main room, or both belly rooms. I got to check. Yeah, and then next week, kicking off 2018 on the road in Portland, Oregon. That bitch is almost sold out. There's 5 shows. Thursday night, 1 show, 2 shows on Friday night, 2 shows on Saturday night. Get tickets now, tfatk.com. And then the big one, Boston, UFC 220, that Friday the night before. Wilbur Theater, my first theater, sold out in America. I've sold theaters out in London, Toronto, and across the seas, but never here in the States. So it's my first one. It's the first time we've ever booked a theater. So I am just so excited for that one. And then what else? Oh, this weekend, I'm still waiting for them to release the official press release on it. So I'm told not to say anything till they do. But by the time this comes out, I should be all right. And I'm not doing another Big Brown Breakdown this weekend. So Sunday, I will be on E. If you're a male and you're listening to this, you're like, E, I get it. Ask your girl. She'll know where to find me. So I'll be on E hosting the after show for the the Golden Globes. So awesome. It'll be me and 2 other people on there, and I am one of the 3 that will be commenting, having fun about fashion and the Golden Globes. So different lane for me. I'm super excited about it. I've been trying to work with E for a long time now, and I've shot pilots for them. I've done auditions for them, and then finally we landed on this. So we'll see what happens. It'll be fun, though, so appreciate the support. Tune in. I think it's 8 p.m. Pacific on E, the TV channel E, and that's right after the Golden Globes. So tune on in, kids. I'll be looking like a dime piece, meeting with a stylist on Friday.
Oh, and a stylist?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I know. That's probably what I'm most excited for. Get with this stylist, pick some cool shit. But yeah, man, got that going on. And then, off to the road next week. Things are good. So in the fighting world, though, again, UFC 219 didn't blow anybody's hair back. There's some good wins for individual people. There's good wins overall and progress their careers. But, you know, the big ones, you know, the main cards, the big ones, I thought Miles Jury looked great. I thought Rick Glenn had a freaking rough night. He just seemed off. Didn't have a good night. It could be just a product of Miles Jury's just that damn good. Sometimes you forget about him because he's been a little bit inactive. Remember, he had that long layoff. Then he fell on hard times, but he's so talented. You know, I don't know if it's Rick Glenn had an off night and Miles Jury's that good or vice versa. I don't know what was going on there, but tip of the hat to Miles Jury. And then the main card with Neil Magny, Carlos Condit. I told you guys, Neil Magny and Carlos Esparza were my dogs on this one because for Neil Magny, he's just a bad matchup stylistic for Carlos Condit. Even if Carlos didn't have one foot out the door, didn't speak of retirement, didn't have all the battles that he's gone through, when you add all that up, even if you take that out, Neil Magny's still a tough matchup for him. So that's why I thought Neil Magny was the lock as an underdog, just because Neil wants to be in there, and he only loses to the tip of the spear jiu-jitsu masters in the world. Outside that, he kind of beats everyone. You look at his resume, he beat Kelvin Gastelum, Johnny Hendricks, Hector Lombard. Like, he's fought some dangerous guys and passed the test. So that's why I gave him the nod over Carlos on that. Turned out to be true. 30-27, I thought those were fair scores. But again, not a fun, exciting fight. Not a great one. And then Carla Esparza versus Cynthia Calvillo. Again, I had her as a dog picking this fight because there's a lot of hype on Cynthia, and I think that's valid, that she deserves the hype and she is going to be a star. But Carla Esparza, won the first strawweight title. She fell on hard times, had kind of the layoff, had some weird losses. Her last loss was kind of some bullshit. And Cynthia Calvillo, not that she's not going to be amazing. I just felt like it's too much too soon for her. And I think when Cynthia goes back and watch that fight, she had so many spots that she could have won that fight and just didn't pull the trigger. I think she only has 4 fights. This is her 4th fight in the UFC, so she has a lot of growth to do. So I'm going to set her back that much. People are giving her flack like, oh, you're a sore loser. When she stormed out of the cage saying, I won that, that's bullshit. I like that passion. I like when my fighters get upset. Like I'm a coach for my fighters. Fight. Yeah, so it's her 5th fight in the UFC, which isn't, she only has 7 overall or some shit like that. So, she's 6-1. So she has 7 fights total, pro fights. Don't give a fuck about her amateur, but so she has a lot of growing to do. I think she's going to be a star. She has the tools. She's just not putting it all together right now, and that just comes with experience. I thought Esparza's faced tougher competition. She did beat Rose. Granted, that was a long-ass time ago, but, Carlos Esparza is a tough customer, and I had it 29-20 across the board. I had no issues with that. I didn't think for a second Cynthia won that fight. I know some people disagree with that, but I'd Carla all the way on that. Then Dan Hooker, Mark Diakese. They're getting booed. The crowd is pretty restless there. That was a bit of a snooze fest. Good job, Dan Hooker. And then Khabib, Edson Barboza. If you watch that fight and you're fighting at 155, you're thinking to yourself, how the fuck am I going to beat this guy? What am I going to do? And let's start with some of the negatives with Khabib, because there's so many positives, and I'm sure any show you're listening to, they're talking about positives. So what are some of the holes I see in Khabib's game? Not many. Probably has the best mindset in the UFC as far as just going in there, believing in himself. He's never lost a round in practice. He's never lost a round in the UFC. He's never lost a round outside the UFC. He's 25-0. He's the best grappler in the UFC. So he has all these things going for him. But the one kind of, I guess if this is a video game and you're playing Street Fighter and you're fighting Ryu, you're fighting freaking Guile, and you look at strength and weaknesses. So his grappling, mindset, toughness, cardio, all that is through the roof. The one kind of spot where you can kind of see where he's vulnerable would be his striking. Not a world-class striker. His combos, his kicks, his head movement, that would be the only knock on him. But when you're that world-class ahead of everybody else as far as grappling, conditioning goes, you can kind of slack on that. I'm sure he's working on it like crazy, but I wouldn't change anything that he's doing. I wouldn't start focusing on my striking if I'm him, because he's 25-0 for a reason. He's beat some really good strikers. That being said, beating Edson Barboza doesn't mean you're a world beater. It doesn't mean you're the tip of the spear when it comes to beating guys. That's a perfect matchup for Khabib, which was why Khabib, if you guys go back and listen to last week, if you're betting on this, was my lock of the century, basically. Of course Khabib's going to win that fight. Edson Barboza has to pray that he catches him. And now people go, well, maybe he can catch him with a knee coming in. He really doesn't shoot like a traditional freestyle wrestler from the States. He doesn't. He closes the gap, doesn't take very much damage, has a good chin, so you're going to have to catch him with an elbow or something like that. Knees really aren't there for you to catch him with. He gets an underhook, goes to work, you go down. When he fought I think I talked about it yesterday on Fighting the Kid, when he fought Trejo, he's an NAIA national champion. He took him down 21 times, shot 24 times. Just do that in your living room and you'd be fucking exhausted, let alone inside the UFC octagon, and you go on most takedowns ever in a fight. So with Khabib, the only, I think if you're a 155, you're watching film, you go, all right, striking kind of sucks. His technique isn't great. I really don't see it. I guess the one kind of chink in the armor that we can go from is Michael Johnson exploded on him and kind of caught him, but then got broke like a motherfucker. Like, there's not a whole lot of negatives when it comes to Khabib. The big thing for Khabib, I thought his moment, I thought he was going to win the fight, obviously, but his moment was on the mic. Because this 155, the lightweight division, is kind of up in there, right? You got Tony Ferguson, then you got Conor just looming over everything. We're kind of just waiting. What is Conor going to do here? Like, let's go, man. You can defend, you can box, but we got to figure it out because there's not one true champion right now besides Conor, right? But he doesn't defend the belt, so there's that argument. And so I look at this kind of triangle of three. There's only three guys when we talk about 55. There's only three people in this conversation. It's Tony Ferguson, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Conor McGregor. So it's kind of a weird triangle because sorry, I don't know what's going on in my throat. I'm dying. Not like Callan, but I'm dying. When you look at the lightweight division and you look at these three, this triangle is weird because I think Conor matches up well with Tony Ferguson, but Conor doesn't match up well with Khabib. But then Tony Ferguson matches up well with Khabib. You know, so it's kind of this revolving door where whoever brings it that night, I could see win the fight. Now, I can make arguments for each guy if they fight each other, pros and cons. I can give you a little bit of a glimmer on why this guy win, why this guy lose, stuff like that. But when I just look at it overall, I go, all right, Conor versus Tony. Tony does take a lot of hits. If Tony wants to play that game against Conor, that's trouble. Conor, especially earlier in the rounds, is going to give Tony a lot of trouble on the feet. If Tony decides to just go in there and use his wrestling credentials, he could drag Conor to the later rounds, but still Conor on the feet is very dangerous for Tony. And now look at Tony versus Khabib. It's like, all right, well, Khabib's going to take you down. I don't care what your wrestling pedigree is. I don't care where you come from. You're not Khabib. So you're going to get taken down. Well, for a guy like Tony, when he gets taken down, because it's going to happen when he fights Khabib, it's going to happen. When you get taken down, what do you do down there? Do you try and fight back up like Barboza did? And everyone's like, God, Barboza's so tough. Stand back up. I guess, man. Yeah, I guess that's the one takeaway you could give Barboza out of that fight. But Tony off his back's a motherfucker. Tony off his back is going to be a nightmare for Khabib because Khabib's not your traditional get on top, pass half guard, look for submissions, look for underhook, darce chokes, guillotines, Kimura, stuff like that. He's kind of stay in your guard, beat the brakes off you, posture up, put his hips into you, beat the brakes off you, ground and pound. Well, for a guy like Tony Ferguson, who's long, can go to mission control, can kind of close his legs around a body like Khabib, control his posture, use his elbows, use his dangerous guard game to kind of nullify Khabib's ground and pound. That fight starts when it hits the ground, which is so interesting to me. And for Conor McGregor, he's not as well versed on the ground, especially from guard on his back when Khabib takes him down, which is why I think the tougher matchup for Conor would be Khabib. Where the easier matchup, none of them are easy, but the easier matchup would be Conor versus Tony. But it's just this revolving door. I see those three fighting. But Conor needs to decide what he's going to do. Great performance by Khabib. When he got on the mic, he goes, man, I'd fight Tony and Conor in the same night, which I believe him. It is refreshing that he's not doing these horrible rip promos from the WWE like everyone tend to kind of fall into this weird kind of pattern to sell tickets. I like that he's keeping true to himself. Does that make you excited to see him fight the next guy? I think his performance should do that. For some people, the performances do that. You don't need to sell it on the mic. So it's refreshing. I dig it. I'm a big Khabib fan. I think now he has a nutritionist and he wants to fight 3 times this year, he said, or 4 times this year. A lot of problems for guys. A lot of problems. But the one knock on him would be his stand-up, but good luck landing on that guy. Then the main event, Chris Cyborg, Holly Holm. 49-46 seems fair to me. 48-47 is a little crazy. I gave maybe Holly the first round after that. It was just this kind of huge Brazilian storm of Cyborg just kind of outclassing her, really. And Holly's lost 4 out of her last 5, I think, now. All the tough opponents. It's not a knock on Holly. She'll go down in the record books for what she did to Ronda and still be one of the best. But, yeah, she's lost 4 out of her last 5. So with her only win being Betch Correia, which isn't exactly, a world beater, but, so she lost to Miesha Tate with basically a minute 30 left. She's won that fight. The Shevchenko, she actually lost. I'll give her that one. So the Miesha Tate one, that's a tough one. She's winning all the rounds, then ends up choking at the very end there. Shevchenko lost. Jermaine Durandamy, she actually beat and got fucked on the debut for the featherweight title. All right. And then Betch Correa, she head kicks in the third round, but Betch isn't exactly the best. That's whatever. And then Chris Cyborg, Cyborg's too big for her. I thought Holly started off good, but she didn't stick to the game plan. I thought it was great the way she was getting Cyborg off the cage and holding her to the cage. Even as boring as that is for a lot of people, that was the right thing to do to try to drag Cyborg to the later rounds. The scary thing is if you're Cyborg's next opponent is you realize she has cardio too. It's trouble. It's trouble because everyone thought, oh, she's kind of that blitz artist. She's kind of, that Ronda Rousey where she's going to come straight at you, and if it doesn't get done, and if you can avoid that, you drag in later rounds, you're okay. Guess what? She learned to box. Perillo, tip of the hat to Perillo on this one. She looked great. I had Holly winning one round. If you didn't want to give her that round, I'm fine with that. But yeah, I had Holly winning one round, and so 49-46 across the board for me. But Cyborg's in this division where there's just maybe one other girl, Megan Anderson, maybe. Outside that, who knows? And Megan has her issues with her visa or where the hell that is. Dude, I got to piss again.
Go for it.
Boom. So that's your UFC 219 little break down or recap. Like I said, didn't blow your hair back, but it was an important night for a few people. I'd say most importantly for Khabib because he's been gone for so long. You forget how good he is. Mm-hmm. You really do. So I think he's your MVP of the night. Although Edson Barboza is the perfect matchup for him. So let's chill out a little bit. Should we jump some current events, man?
Sounds good.
What do you got, Chin?
The first one is Bellator parting ways with Jimmy Smith. Yeah. How much did you know about this?
I run with the crowd who might be in the know when it comes to this stuff. I knew, I should say, probably a day before it hit the mainstream that, he was out as the commentator at Bellator. And what were his reasons why? What did he say to the media?
He said that there was an option year, and 2018 was the option year, which I don't know.
That means Paramount, formerly known as Spike, Paramount Network now. Paramount has the option to pick you up or not.
Oh, okay.
And so what did they decide not to?
He said they couldn't agree to the terms. They did try to hold on to him, but the terms that he wanted, they didn't want, so separated.
Well, when he means terms, that means they weren't giving enough
money. Yeah.
So things happen. I think he's a great commentator.
Mm-hmm.
He's intense, dude. I worked with him when I worked for Bellator at the Madison Square Garden card. Great guy. Knows his stuff, man. We disagree as far as who's the greatest of all time and stuff like that, but he knows his stuff. So he said, what happened was I had to deal with an option year. 2018 was option year. When I was doing the Bellator show in Verona, New York, my boss sat me down and said, we're not going to renew for 2018. We want a different deal. When your girlfriend comes in and says, we need to talk, it's never to say, I don't give you enough blowjobs. They never say that. It's always bad. That's an interesting take. They said, we want to change the deal around. They did make an honest effort to keep me. They really tried. They didn't make me an offer that was worth me coming back. That was the deal. Yeah, so it sounds like, budget cuts, and they didn't want to pay him for what he's worth, and good for him.
I wonder what happens to him now.
He'll be with the UFC.
Say what?
He'll sign with the UFC.
Seriously?
Guarantee it.
Holy crap.
Really? You're that surprised? They need some help, man. They need some help because who knows what Rogan's going to do. His contract's up in 2018. You have the young guys, Paul Felder, John McCruz, who I thought in this last pay-per-view was a little too chatty for my liking. I think he's brilliant, but was a little too chatty. He kind of overstepped, on Rogan's toes and Anik. Anik barely got a word in. Rogan barely got a word in. That's the way it goes. DC's probably your best out of that crop. Outside Rogan, you probably got DC's your number one. But you need a play-by-play, you need a color guy. So I think Jimmy Smith would be a great addition. He knows the game like nobody else. He's very good. He's very, very good. He's right up there for me with Brian Stan as far as they're not going to bring humor to the table, but they know their stuff so damn well you want to hear them talk. There's no one better than Rogan when it comes to that. As far as knowledge, making it fun to listen to, breaking it down in layman terms, there's no one better than Rogan.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Smith is damn good, man. He'll be with, I guarantee he signs with the UFC.
Interesting.
Yep.
Well, so what's up with Bellator then? What?
Bellator's looking for somebody.
I heard rumors, and many people actually hit me up about it too. A lot of rumors were that you were gonna fill that position. And then I remember thinking you were saying you have a surprise announcement later. I thought, oh crap, that's going to be the announcement. I had no idea.
See, that wouldn't, to me, that's not that surprising. Of course I would.
Still a big.
Of course I'd be the guy to fill in at Bellator. I think that's the easy call. My news was the E-show, and I have more news coming probably in the next week or two in regards to some Showtime stuff. But when it comes to Bellator, they know I support them. I love working for them. I'm just, I'm so busy with what I'm doing, man.
Very
with
true.
my comedy, you'll get it when I announce what's going on with Showtime, the E stuff, but I can't spread myself too thin. And yeah, so I'll leave it at that. But I love Bellator. I just, I'm doing my thing over here, man. That's the easy path. I think there's, I don't want to get myself in trouble. I respect them. I love the sport, but I'm trying to grow as an individual. Like, I'm trying to step outside. Of course, the next guy to retire would go right in and do commentating of him. That's easy, man. Of course, the NFL player who stops playing quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys is going to fill in at the desk at CBS. Of course, that's easy. That's not fun for me. That's not exciting to me. I like doing it. Could I have fun with it? Hell yeah. Would I do it with Rogan? Of course. One of my best friends would have a blast doing that. That's not the terms that have been brought to me. I love Bellator. I love working for him. I love doing stuff for him. I'm balls deep in the UFC, man.
That's what I was
I
gonna
don't
ask you,
work
yeah.
for the UFC in any facet. In any capacity, I do not work for the UFC. Some of their people that work in the office, I'll talk to every now and then. Outside that, the only employee, and obviously I talked to a ton of fighters who are friends, who are employees of the UFC, and obviously Rogan's one of my best friends. I talk to him every day, but outside that, I don't have any communication with the UFC. But I fought for the UFC. I break down all the UFC.
Yeah.
And then, Bellator has their stuff going on. They're trying to grow, and I support that. And I do love working for them. There's some great cards. And I honestly think Scott Coker's the best promoter in the world, boxing or MMA. I do. I think he's a fighter's promoter. I think what he's done with Bellator in 3 years, which is now the Paramount Network, what he's done in 3 years is nothing short of unbelievable. I think in 6 years where they're going to be at, it's pretty scary if you're on the other team. It's easy to join the team that's already climbed Mount Everest, and Scott Coker and them are trying to get up to that point, and that's exciting. So that's what excites me about Bellator and stuff like that. But as far as being a commentator, stuff like that, I to me, what's exciting is this project I have going on with Showtime, which is, something different you guys haven't seen. This project I have going on with E is, something different. It's almost kind of the Strahan route, That fighting's I'm always going to be drawn to fighting. I'm always going to have a fan base from fighting. That's there. That doesn't excite me. Nothing's harder than comedy. That takes all my effort, man. Nothing is harder than that.
So just the last question I'll ask. So if UFC called and they wanted a commentator and they're looking to you to do it, would you do it? I mean, I realize why you would be more interested in UFC because you were actually part of the UFC. That's your home. So would you actually take a gig if they hit you up?
I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. It's a good question.
Fair response.
With my schedule, it'd be tough, man. If they had me on the Rogan game plan where you can pick and choose, but if I'm doing fight nights and stuff like that, it might be tough. I'm just in a different lane, man. It's not a bad thing. I'm not better than anyone. I'm just in a different lane.
Gotcha.
What else you got? But Jimmy Smith will be with the UFC. Mark my words.
Very, very interesting.
Have they announced it already? I don't know. It's not.
No.
All right.
I mean, I didn't see anything yet. I wonder which one to jump to next. Let's just go ahead and do this one. So, Dana White said that next year, whether Conor fights or not, they're going to move on. So he was saying, like, you know, back in the days when Chuck Liddell fought, if Chuck Liddell ever left, what would they ever do? And if, you know, John Jones, Ronda Rousey, if they left, what would you do? They always end up moving on forward. He said they could do the same thing without Conor McGregor.
Well, they have to. Does that make sense? As a business, you have to. But don't get it twisted. Don't ever think that the UFC model, it has its flaws, but the UFC train is fueled by superstars. It is not fueled by the brand. Because if it's fueled by the brand, which the NBA, the NFL is, you're always going to have those ratings. Even if they say, oh, they're low, they're still fucking killing it as far in the grand scheme of things compared to the UFC. But the thing that moves this UFC engine is superstars. It feeds off superstars. The pay-per-view model only exists if you have superstars. So the mistake that they've made over the past 2 years, or especially since they sold WME, is thinking that they can survive without these superstars. And they've learned the hard way, and this year shows it. So I think when you take for granted once-in-a-lifetime athletes like Ronda Rousey, Brock Lesnar, Conor McGregor, John Jones, you know, these guys, or you take for granted guys like Max Holloway, or you take for granted guys like Jose Aldo or Mighty Mouse, or, you know, the list goes on and on. And we take for granted these guys, or Amanda Nunes, guys and gals. When you take them for granted, you don't build them up into the superstars that they could be. And you go, we're just going to focus on over here, you know, and you think it's about the brand, you're going to learn very fast, and you're going to end up with eggs on your face. Because, so he goes, if Conor McGregor fights next year, that will be awesome. If Conor McGregor doesn't fight, the UFC is going to go on. They have to. I've been hearing this since 2000. He always says this. I've been hearing this since 2003. What are you going to do when Chuck Liddell's gone? Times are different now. You know, when you say, oh, what are you going to do when Chuck Liddell leaves? There are about 8 pay-per-views that year. Chuck was in half of them. Yeah. So that's different because he was everything. What are you going to do when GSP leaves? You're in big trouble when Anderson Silva gone. The list goes on and on. Ronda Rousey last year was best in company's history. So we're going to keep finding new talent, put on the best fights in the world, and that we're going to continue to do with or without anybody. That's the business mindset you have. What are they going to do? Sit there with their dicks in their hand because Conor McGregor's not fighting? You got to move on, but you also got to realize what you have, and you can't just view them as dispensable superstars. Like, oh, they're out. See ya. Who's next? Oh, we can create any superstar we want. You can? Okay. Well, you've tried that. Those superstars are created themselves. So John Jones being undefeated created his superstardom. George St. Pierre putting on those fights, being undefeated, created that superstardom. Ronda Rousey going there, murking all the girls, created their superstardom. Yeah, you guys promote them a little bit, but what sells them is themselves. Their whole being. It's just not this UFC machine that does it. The UFC machine can help, but those superstars will be superstars with or without the UFC. If Conor McGregor decided to do a McGregor promotion and put on a fight, he's not missing any viewership. The brand's still there. He doesn't need the UFC. If Ronda Rousey or Brock Lesnar or John Jones decide to put on a fight themselves, contractually they can't, but let's say they could, they don't miss a step. They don't miss a beat. So who needs who here? Mm-hmm. Now, when they're coming up, sure, yeah, they're going to need to push. They need somewhere to fight, stuff like that. But all I'm saying is I've heard the UFC brass say, guys can come and go. We decide who's a superstar. You're confusing this with the WWE when you do that. You don't decide. You don't. And you say, well, where were we 4 years ago? Conor wasn't here. Yeah, he's the biggest thing all time now. You're lucky a guy like that walked through your doors. You're lucky a guy like that has the talent to beat the guys the way he does. You're lucky that Conor has the abilities, the gift of the gab to sell the fight for you. You're just a camera and a stage. You're just a cage. Don't get it twisted. You think by putting him on UFC Tonight, which might average 100,000 viewers, you think that's promoting him? You don't think Conor, Ronda, Brock, John, these superstars could get on USA Today themselves? What are you guys really doing for them? At this day and age, you want a publicist? You're looking at it. You have an iPhone? That's your publicist these days. You're your own publicist. If Conor McGregor wants to do a meet and greet, you think he needs the UFC to blast it out on their social media, get people to come? You think if he's going to write a book, he needs to make sure that the UFC tweets it out for him to sell these books? You think Brock Lesnar to sell more shirts needs WWE or the UFC to tweet something out for him? No. The game has completely changed because it's technology. You're a camera and a cage. Don't ever get that confused. You're a camera and a cage.
Technology changed the game.
Technology changes the game, and there are some guys who do need the UFC. They need that camera and cage because they can't figure out, but there's a lot of guys who don't. That cell phone is your is your personal publicist. Your social media is your new publicist. Sure, you could do let's say you do an article in USA Today and you get 500,000 views on it. That's cool. Or you build your social media and you have a YouTube channel and your Twitter's at 100,000 or at 1 million or something like that. That goes, more people see that than any article that this publicist you're paying or the UFC's publicist team is setting you up with. We have that power now. It's pretty cool. But to sit around and wait, remember, you're a cage and a camera. Chill out. What else you got?
That's going to catch on, I'm sure. Cage and a camera. Next one. So UFC stripped the credentials of that guy from Jackson Week that does their media, that does their camera and stuff.
What a moron.
So they actually took his credentials away. And that's him.
That's him.
Yeah, and on the left.
On the left. Mark Aragon.
That's obviously after Cyborg.
Has he been at every UFC event?
I don't know.
Has he had a ton of them, or he's just the...
This is the first time I've ever heard of him.
Me too. Don't throw stones in a glass house. He's completely overweight. So he issues an apology?
He did. Well, this is the original post that he did. And looking back at it, it is mean, but I don't know about losing his entire... Well, he's not losing his job, right? He's just losing credentials to the UFC. So he can't cover the UFC events anymore.
If you're not working the UFC and that's your gig, you're not doing shit.
Very true.
Especially at Jackson, they have someone on every goddamn card. Mm. So
this is the original post he said.
So he put, "This dude is tough as hell." That being said, at the press conference, he said Holly was the first one to make his nose bleed. "You're my hero, Holly Holm. See you back in the gym."
That was it. So Cyborg obviously called for him to lose his credentials. She accepts his apology. So this is his apology. And his apology is kind of where I think he messed up at.
I mean, he's messed up a million times. He messes up with his avatar for his fucking Twitter handle or Instagram handle. Anyways, MA2_media. As the most hated photographer in the world today, yes, I feel it's necessary to comment on the recent fallout I'm causing for both Holly's and Cyborg's camps and the all right, families. At the conclusion of yesterday, I took the final bus out of the arena and back to the hotel. Oh, yikes, here we go. But wait, I took the final, end up being on the same bus as Chris and Tim. As I sat in the back of it to hear them cheer and reveal in their victory and discuss small parts of the event, a couple things really bothered me. A, you're a photographer. Nothing should bother you unless your camera lens is scratched. Shut the fuck up. A couple things really bothered me. I heard them laugh and comment on a picture the renowned photographer Esther Lynn took. She's amazing, by the way. Mm-hmm. She's probably the best photographer in the game. Took of Cyborg's toes literally in Holly's eye from a kick. Cyborg then went on to discuss how during the clinches, the bitch just stayed and hung on her. She did nothing. When I got back to the hotel, I posted. So hold on. Let's break this down. You're on the... First of all, you're photographers, so chill out. You're also on the fighter's bus. You probably shouldn't even fucking been on there. Get your own ride. I hate when these random credential guys are on the bus with their fighters. So that's to your liking. You want to go on the bus. You go on the same bus Cyborg and her team is on. Cyborg's team just had the biggest win of her professional career. They're celebrating amongst friends and coaches. And they're breaking it down going, check out this kick that she had where her toes are in Holly's eyes. And then called her a bitch. But They're not saying it around her face. They're not saying it on social media. They're doing it in the confines of friends, families, and coaches. You shouldn't even been on that bus. You have nothing to do with this. And now a photographer, again, you're a camera. You're a fucking camera. The new iPhone X can do just as good as job and doesn't put out hateful shit like this. Don't get it twisted. You're not that important. A, you shouldn't have been on the bus. B, don't ever talk shit about a fighter. You're a photographer. You're also talking shit about a fighter who's in their personal space with friends and coaches talking about the biggest fight of their career that they just won. Why you take offense that A, you shouldn't be there. B, just shut the fuck up. Now you don't even get credentials to shoot at the UFC. And C, your I guess apology is awful, man. You're trying to validate why you would call Cyborg a he because of why? Because the way she physically looks, you're no fucking peach, my man. Because she doesn't look as feminine as Holly, because she doesn't look as feminine as these other fighters used to seeing, because she failed a steroid test how many years ago? You're from fucking Jackson's. You know how many guys have failed steroid tests there? Are you shitting me? You know how many guys come out of that camp that have failed steroid test? And you're going to judge Cyborg, who's on a bus with her friends, coaches, and family talking about the fight. And the worst thing she said was, this bitch stayed and hugged on me during a cage match. Good God, man. Grow up. Grow up. Also know the history of where you're from. Also realize you're just a photographer. You're not shit. And now the story is about you. And this is what you do with it. You had the platform where you could have been like, I was way out of line. I fucked up. I shouldn't have said that. My bad. Tip of the hat to Cyborg. You're the best of all time. We brought our best. Wasn't good enough. Will never be good enough. Sorry. My bad. I'm out. I'm just a photographer. I take pictures of the most talented people in the world. I shouldn't be throwing stones in a glass house. My bad. It's crazy, man. Never heard of the guy till now. Now we know you. Is anyone going to hire him to take pictures anymore? Maybe a few fighters at Jackson's.
This got deep.
You're a fucking photographer. You made this about you.
Not saying
we should be talking about Cyborg.
Not saying that photographers aren't important with their job.
Not important. Check it out. iPhone. Click. Then with the fucking new highlights I have, I know you're a photographer, Chin, so you can jump in now. But you know what to do with the camera. Yeah. Those new iPhone X's with the filters and shit.
You can do some amazing stuff.
Look like Eric Williams up in this bitch with my camera. You know who shout out to Eric Williams, the best photographer in the game. But they're obsolete. Hey, photographers, you Blockbuster. The new iPhone's Netflix.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Click, 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 click. That's how good technology is.
There's plenty of great photographers.
Hey, photographers, you yellow cab taxis. My phone's the Netflix. My phone's Uber. You yellow cab taxis. I know you're go ahead, man. This guy pissed me off.
I know. This guy.
It's crazy.
This guy messed up. But yeah, of course, there's plenty of talented photographers that can do stuff that the iPhone can't do. I'm not one of those. I'm not as great as those photographers. But yeah, by making this thing about him was bad.
But then he goes on to say Cyborg leaned up. So now, again, he's defending his actions.
His apology.
A grown man calling a female fighter, world-class, the best pound-for-pound women's fighter on the planet, he's defending his action on, all right, man. And then Cyborg leaned up to the fight. Again, you're not in this. You haven't earned the right to be in this. Cyborg leaned up to the fight through her own social media accounts, accused Holly and our camp of being the most drug-failed camp ever. This is totally fabricated lie and can't be based on any merit whatsoever. Well, no. Oh, my God. Only one current athlete from our camp has ever been punished for USADA-related issues. Extremely frustrated with the perception Cyborg and her fans had painted us as cheaters. You're a photographer. Quit saying us. Jackson Wink has over 60 fights. No, you guys have failed a lot of tests. Now, it's not a black eye on Jackson's. You guys have more fighters in the UFC than most camps. But don't get twisted. You have had a lot of guys failed that have come out of your camp. Just to name a few off the top. Alistair Overeem's has been from Jackson's. Frank Mir was at Jackson's failed steroids test. I mean, I can keep going on and on. There's an entire list. So he tries to defend his actions again. This guy just doesn't sound very smart. That being said, I'm embarrassed by my actions. No, you're not. I sincerely apologize. No, you don't. Most apparently your family posting an ugly misrepresentation of a great hard-earned championship. He needs to not apologize to Cyborg. He needs to apologize to Jackson's Wink. They're so much better than this. If you've ever met Greg Jackson or Winklejohn, they're the salt of the earth. They're the best people on the planet. They do not advocate for this. They do not represent this. That might be the reason why I'm so upset at this. Because Jackson's Wink couldn't be further from this low life bullshit he's spewed out here. That's the problem. Because you have this photographer who represents Jackson. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now you're the talk of the town, not in a good way, because you spewed out some hateful shit. And you're a grown man. Probably has kids. That's a fucking bummer. Grow up.
He made you hate photographers now, and that's just messed up.
One of my best friends, Eric Williams, is one of the best photographers in the world.
Yeah, they're amazing.
I love Ryan Loco. I fucking love Ryan Loco. Yeah. You know, he's amazing. I met some of the best. There's tons of them, man.
I know what you mean by it. Believe me. I just want to make sure.
Tracy Lee's amazing. I've worked with some of the best photographers in the world. All I'm saying is you will not hear these tip of the spear photographers talk like this.
Yeah, super.
And I'm also saying the new iPhone can do it just as good.
No.
Yeah.
Cannot.
I had this conversation with my father the other day.
We should have a competition then.
Go ahead, man.
Let's do it.
I'll be at UFC 220 cage side. I will bring a fucking iPhone and take just as good as pictures. You give me the access, I'll take just as good pictures, and I will use filters, and you'll be like, God damn, man.
All right, that's another challenge. We'll make that happen. Although I won't be credentialed for UFC 220.
Well, there's one open.
That's true.
What else we got?
All right, so Cyborg says on her Instagram that she got a call from someone and that she is actually fighting Megan Anderson February 10th in the UFC.
That's frowned upon because the UFC hates when you announce it before they do. Oh. I know Cyborg's man runs her social media and a lot of that stuff. They're a little bit reckless with it. I like some of the stuff they do, but some of it's just too much. If you tweet more than 5 times a day, it's too much. If you tweet more than 4 times a day, it's too much. On a constant basis, it's too much. If it's a special day, if she wanted to tweet Saturday night 70 times, I'm about it. But during a typical week, if you're doing it more than 4 times a day, you got a problem. There's something you need to chill out. The UFC hates when they release it before. Also, from what I've heard, and according to Ariel Helwani, Megan Anderson still isn't cleared.
But they'll be doing it in Australia. So that's the one thing.
I mean, that fight makes sense. February, fucking soon.
That's super soon.
For Cyborg, I guess Cyborg really take damage.
5-round
but
fight.
I mean, that's the only fight that makes sense. But again, do you want to do it that soon? I mean, if you're Cyborg, you do whatever you want to do. But you just fought. There's really only one fight for you. I guess you clear out Anderson, you clear out Holly. Amanda Nunes, probably the next super fight that makes sense.
Wouldn't it be better, I mean, coming from, if you were fighting in this thing, wouldn't it be better for you to just enjoy this moment for a while and then fight later in the year and build it up?
Yeah, what I would do if I was Cyborg, I would hire my own freaking marketing team. I would not use I'd be in cahoots with UFC, but I'd hire my own marketing publicist team, and I'd go on Brazil or really in America here. Forget UFC tonight. Forget that standard bullshit, and I would have them promote me all over. Mm-hmm. I'm the baddest woman on the planet. And then I'd do that for a few months and build up my next fight, get my name out there more with the American fans. Because obviously in Brazil, she's a superstar. Yeah. That's what I would do. I'd invest, I'm sure she made damn close to $1 million, especially after the pay-per-view numbers. I'd invest some of that money in growing my brand and name.
Cool. And in Australia, they could do that.
She's not going to lose her belt anytime soon. So, yeah, they can do it in Australia. That makes sense. What else you got?
All right. Let's jump to this. Bob Arum, he says Dana White says he needs boxing to save him. That's why they started Zuffa Boxing. And he goes right here. By
They
coming
hate
in,
each other.
They do. By coming in the business, he is really admitting that boxing is the more popular sport.
God damn
and in
it.
order to keep his company alive, he has to go into boxing business.
God damn it, Bob Arum. You're 50,000 years old. You're sold. I don't think boxing's bigger than MMA, especially around the world overall. But certain fights in boxing are bigger, but only a very, very few. But overall, MMA in general is bigger than boxing, especially here in the States. International, obviously, Brazil MMA is way bigger. Japan MMA is way bigger. China MMA is way bigger. Europe's probably the only place where boxing's still the reigning champion. But other than that, MMA's taken over as far as business goes. So he says by coming to the business, he's really made that boxing a more popular sport, and in order to keep his company alive, he has to go in boxing. The only truth I really see there would be, I do think the Zuffa or Dana White and WME need to do some stuff to make up that nut because they're not going to get with the TV deal and just mixed martial arts, so that's why they're doing boxing. I also think it's another project for Dana. He's kind of climbed to the top of Everest as far as mixed martial arts goes. He's been there, done that, and boxing's a new kind of challenge to him. But I do think they're doing it because they need to make up some financial gains, yes.
And he does really, truly does love boxing, right? Dana. Seems like that was his first love.
Yeah, I guess. I think he's just a fight fan. And I think if you're a fight fan in general, you're going to be drawn to some of the boxing. Bob Arum and Dana hate each other, so take whatever either one says about each other with a grain of salt. What else you got?
And it even says right here, the next one. So Anthony Joshua, it's official. He's taking on Joseph Parker for the WO heavyweight title in March 31st.
And it's in London, I assume?
I don't know.
Does it say down there?
Let's see.
So you guys know
New Zealand heavyweight? Nope.
No, you guys know Joseph Park. Yeah, he's from New Zealand. He really hasn't fought out here too much, but he's
Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, there you go, Wembley Stadium, 90,000 screaming fans, sold out for sure. I like Joseph Parker. He's undersized to compete with the guys like Fury, to compete with guys like Anthony Joshua and Wilder. I think he's damn good. I just think as big as Joshua is, as big as Wilder is, it's just a different game for him. It's just a completely different game for him. If you've seen some of his fight, I haven't been that, especially his last fight. I wasn't that blown away with his performance, but he's a tough guy. One that definitely, besides Klitschko, by far the toughest guy Anthony Joshua has fought. But it's going to be a tough fight for your boy Parker. And then, so you have Anthony Joshua versus Joseph Parker, then Wilder versus Ortiz, and the winners of those will fight each other. And Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz is March 3rd, and you have Joshua Parker end of March. Makes sense. Heavyweight box right now. It's a fun time, man. Got to get Tyson Fury into that mix. They actually, Joshua Parker's last fight. I'm sorry, Joseph Parker's last fight was against Fury's cousin or brother, I believe. And I don't know if he won that fight. He dealt with his size all right, but God, that was a close one, man. I don't know. But Joshua and Wilder that's the motherfucking fight. We're gonna see it this year, guarantee it. That's exciting though. What else you got?
Cool. Just going back to this, so the Wembley Stadium was just where Joshua fought last. So I
guarantee you it's there again.
Okay.
They're not gonna fight New Zealand. Joseph Parker's not that big of a name where Joshua would fly to New Zealand. He's only fought in England, by the way. He's never fought outside it. He sure as fuck not going to New Zealand to fight Joseph Parker. It's going to be in England, guarantee it.
Cool.
What else you got?
Next one, Mackenzie Dern is going to make her UFC debut
Smoke show alert.
against Ashley Yoder.
Boom.
And this is Ashley Yoder.
Good God.
The one on the right.
The mom with the bangs?
Just kidding.
The bangs? God damn, that girl was on Tough.
That girl's on Tough, yeah.
Click on her profile. Spider Monkey Yoda.
She looks a little different in her
Dude, she's
Reebok
gorgeous.
stuff. Yeah, she's attractive for sure.
Let me see another picture. Is there like...
There's another one.
Wow.
Let me see one that when she's in the UFC that you recognize her. Oh,
That's her
there's one
getting
of them.
socked in the face.
That's her socking.
Oh,
The other
that was
girl in
tough
the
to see.
face.
That was her back chin. Dude, she's a pretty girl. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Man, first team all smoke show matchup. Because Mackenzie Dern is gorgeous. Her body's ridiculous. Have you seen her before? Jiu-Jitsu wizard?
She's kind of like yoked, right? She's like a thicker.
No, not really. She's a
Really?
small little girl. That's a terrible picture of her.
I saw her recently. She looked kind of like buff, like thick.
I mean, she's in shape. No, she's
right
gorgeous,
there.
man.
That's where I saw her. She looks a little bigger,
Not
kinda, maybe.
really.
but not big in
Her
a bad way.
body's ridiculous. You're a hater, too.
I'm saying she looks good.
I mean, she's a fit, strong girl.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Strong. She looks strong. Yeah, they're fighting on March.
God, Battle of the Beauties. I'm a Mackenzie Dern fan, man. I hope she does great. And also, that division could use a girl like that. Good looking. She does pull off crazy submissions, a la Ronda, but better jiu-jitsu. World-class jiu-jitsu. World class. Amazing jiu-jitsu. Good, fun to watch. Striking's not quite there yet, but she can get away with it for a little bit in the UFC. She can grow into it. What else we got?
Cool. Let's see here. Oh, James Colossus Thompson. He failed his last test for his last fight that he had with Philip DeFries in Bellator.
No.
For
What?
Joe Standalone.
No way.
He did.
How dare they test him? But of course. If you remember from the Pride days,
Yeah, he looked like he was
Legend.
just the way he looked. He looked so freaking
scary,
badass. Yeah.
So scary, man. And what else was he put on the planet to do besides beat up guys and take their money on the street or in the cage? How dare you test him? And the Mohegan Sun tested him? Hold up. You guys tested my boy Thompson? He fought on an Indian reservation? Hey, man. Let's let our boy James the Colossus Thompson do his damn thing. How dare you test that man on the Indian tribe? That's the wild, wild west. That's why he took the goddamn fight, and then you fuck my boy. Of course he piss hot. He's a red mohawk, for God's sakes. Of course he piss hot. He fought in the Pride days. No fun. How dare you? Especially on the Indian reservation. Let him do his goddamn thing. Shout out to Colossus. What else you got?
Well, I don't know how much this is. So
Khabib
Khabib
wants 3
says,
fights. I hope,
yeah.
Khabib's, his biggest opponent right now is the man in the mirror, him making weight, but he made it easily this time. Made it with flying colors. His new nutritionist is the bomb. And, him fighting 3 times, 2018 could be the year of the Khabib. Last year was not the year of Khabib. The year before was not the year of the Khabib. 2018 definitely could be. I hope he fights 3 times. He's a scary individual, and he's fun to watch. What else you got?
Cool. So for the listeners, it's just Khabib wants to fight 3 times in 2018. The next one, Gaethje. So Justin Gaethje's calling out Kevin Lee, and the reason why he wants him is because he wants to punch his loud mouth.
That's actually a really fun fight.
It's a great fight.
It's a great fight. I think Kevin Lee would take Gaethje down. I know Gaethje likes the fight. That's a great fight. So I want to wait until June, July, but I'm sure you get it sooner. It makes sense. They're both coming off a loss. Gaethje lost to Eddie Alvarez. He got knocked out by the knee. And then obviously Lee lost to Tony Ferguson. That fight makes a lot of sense. I would love that.
Good next move?
Yeah.
All right. This one I wanted to get your take on. Chael Sonnen, he says that Dana White's not actually protecting Conor McGregor for the business, and he has no reason to strip him for his title.
In what way?
Here we go. So he has no reason to strip him because Conor isn't hurt. He's not refusing fights. He actually is active. Even though he did the Mayweather fight, he's still an active guy.
He's still active.
So that's what he feels. That's one of the biggest reasons why he doesn't need to be stripped.
So he goes on, Dana hasn't stripped him because he doesn't have a reason to strip him. I agree. Conor isn't hurt, and he's not refusing fights. People say, well, he hasn't defended his belt. He hasn't fought since Eddie Alvarez. That's not true. He fought Floyd Mayweather, correct. While the title wasn't on the line, Conor was in at home sitting on the couch doing nothing. He wasn't tied up in a business venture, so he's not holding up the company. He's not even holding up a division. He had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He took it. That's just reality. I agree 100% with Chael on this. The issue is where you're going to have to do something with Conor in regards to the 155-pound division, the lightweight division, is if you offer him a fight in March or April or something like that and he turns that down, then you have a problem in your hands. Then you're like, okay, man, well, you made all this money from – you did fight last year for us, and it was the biggest fight of the year, biggest fight ever in UFC history, stuff like that, although it was boxing and we still got money from it. But now we need you to come back to the UFC. So if they go, all right, we let you do that. You're the biggest fighter in the world. You're the most famous guy on the planet. We're not going to strip you your belt, but we need you to fight Tony first in March or April. And he goes, I don't think I want to do that, man. Then, yes, then you're going to have to make a decision. But I agree. There's no reason to strip him right now. He hasn't declined any fight. You know, if anything, he's increasing the profile of Khabib and Tony Ferguson, and he's entertaining those fights. So, yeah, let's do it. But I don't think there's ever been an official offer for Conor to fight these guys. Remember, you had Tony and Khabib were supposed to fight. Khabib missed weight. Then Tony fought Kevin Lee. You know, so we're waiting for a fight with Tony now. And then Khabib just fought. So let's see what happens. Now, if Conor doesn't fight this year, then you got a problem. But right, it's you can't say, oh, you need to do something with the belt. No, you can't do that right now.
So that's the other part. He says he's not protecting Conor. By allowing him to keep the belt. Yeah, that's
he
what
doesn't have to. There hasn't been a line drawn in the sand where Conor's like, nope, not fighting MMA next, not doing that anymore. You don't have to play a badass with Conor right now. There's going to come that time, and then we'll see what happens. And then you might have a reason to cry about Conor holding the belt at 55.
And what do you think about this? He says that it doesn't matter if Conor really has the belt, because if they did strip him, right, this is why I say it doesn't have to actually protect Conor. If they did strip him from the belt, and then he came back to get the belt, it's just a bigger draw.
Belts mean nothing.
Yeah.
With the current entertainment model, the money fight model that they're going off of, titles mean literally nothing. Maybe to the casual fan, like, oh, he has a title, but everyone knows who Conor is. Yeah. Everyone knows, who the other guy is. It doesn't. If you want to fight for a title, great, but it's not the end of the world. Conor would be the biggest draw no matter if it's the title is on the line. If he's fighting at 55, 45, 70, 85, 205, doesn't matter. Title, no title, two guys, gal, girl, monster, dragon, doesn't matter. What else you got?
All right. I don't know how much of a big deal this is, but it's just that Khabib said that he would fight Conor McGregor for free.
And I believe him. I believe him. I think you'd fight Conor for free. I think you'd fight Tony for free. Khabib's thing, he just needs to get going. He needs to keep this momentum going. We finally saw him. But here's the thing. When I say keep this momentum going, how much momentum was created off? Do we know the pay-per-view numbers for 219?
I don't think so.
They can't be very high. So, play his last fight for free on FS1 or something like that to keep this hype going. I think the estimate I gave between 350 and 450.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know at all?
What? No.
Nope. It's too soon.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone will send us something, but yeah, I can't imagine it breaking 500. So, let's say 400,000 people saw Khabib's performance.
Here's something.
So the gate, 1.7, but they have no idea about...
Yeah, so the gate's just 1.7 mil.
Yeah, and they have no idea about the pay-per-view yet. I'm sure we'll get it soon.
Cool. Do you want to go through some of this back and forth between Khabib and Conor?
I'm sure most fans heard it, but I'll do a little bit. So right after Khabib's fight, Conor tweets out, that Dagestani was dog shit the other night. You're all nuts. Game full of sloppy bums asked to be slept. Pay me my worth and the king's back. So he's not saying I'm never fighting again. You suck. And then Khabib put shut up, hashtag tap machine. Tap machine?
Yeah,
He
that's what he meant.
Misspelled machine? All right. And then he posted a meme, a picture of him on a bear and Conor running. All right.
With the belt.
Yeah, it was all right. I've seen better. And then Khabib put, you can buy them on the Gucci store, but knock on bear will eat you. All right.
Not the best.
And then I will fight Khabib in Russia. Then they show a picture of Barboza's face. Then a picture of Conor saying, I lost my passport. All right.
And then Conor's replies.
And then Conor put, truly, truly, get on your fucking knees and beg me. Otherwise, I don't give a bollocks. My whiskey's out this year, and that's Diddy bread. Correct. That's Diddy bread on top already, Diddy bread. Now get your Diddies out and beg. That's hilarious. It's just hilarious. Oh, I'd love to see him and Khabib fight, or him and Tony fight. Yeah, Khabib shit talking wasn't the best there. What can you do? Those were hilarious, though. What else you got?
I think
Is that it?
I got one more.
Bring it.
And it's from Dosbrack.
Yes.
The mighty Dosbrack.
Oh, I blasted this out.
Let me refresh this back.
Gives me as Don King in the middle.
So
and you and Callan. And he gave Callan his psoriasis dots all over his body. He put you in that McGregor fur coat. And you're bodied up. You got them cheeks on you, too.
Definitely got some cheeks.
It's hilarious,
It's awesome.
Man. So go to it now at Dosbrack, Dosbrak. And he goes, I had to do something for Callan Chin. I met Chin in Dublin last year. And he definitely has a big presence. Anyone wondering what's going on with Schaub's hair, just look up Don King. That's hilarious, man. It's so good. So fucking good. I love that. We got to get a picture of that. Hey, Dosbrack, I'm sure you'll see this. Send us a print of that.
Yeah, dude.
We'll frame it, put it up. That's hilarious.
Awesome work.
It's so good. Should we do some fan questions? No fight this weekend, so let's do some fan questions.
Sounds good.
All right, let's do some fan questions. No MJ, and I didn't get you the questions in time, Chen, so maybe we'll do it like this from now. I'm just going to scroll through and try and answer as many as I can. Live here. So, let's see. At @me_Brandon Scott. Chris D'Elia, Brian Callan Chin. Got to fuck one, kill, or marry one. Go. Kill Brian. Fuck Chris D'Elia, marry Chin. How about that?
People ask that a lot.
Yeah, it's weird, man. Yeah. So this is at Paul Caffrey 4. From a technical point of view, what makes Khabib so good at taking people down and dominating them? I think it's Khabib's. He's so good at the basics, and he's so good at sambo. When he gets an underhook, most of mixed martial art fights, because of distance control and stuff like that, you always end up with someone always has an underhook, and you always end up closing the distance. And Khabib's the best in the world when you get to that point, which happens whether you're a striker, grappler, no matter what, you always get in those positions. You have to. It's going to be tough to stay away from the guy for 5 minutes and not get in some sort of clinch. But once you go to the clinch, Khabib's the best at the world when it goes there right away. And he's done that since he was 7 years old, wrestling grizzly bears, what the fuck he does in Dagestan. So he's just so damn good at it. Will Conor fight in the UFC in 2018? That's TJM182. Yes. What are your estimated pay-per-view buys for UFC 220?
220.
I'll say 650,000. I'll say 650 to 800,000. Stipe's never been a huge draw. DC's not a huge draw. The card outside that's not exactly a barn burner. Stipe, Francis, DC, Vulcan. I'll say it does around 650.
Jeez.
At Pudley_Pud. Why do you always shit on Bama? I know it's not like super offensive like other teams, but the defense is amazing. It's like watching Ben Askren, spelled Askren wrong, fight or GSP fight. They aren't always crowd pleasers, but you can't deny the technical matchup. Big fan. Happy New Year. You too, Pudley_Pud. However, I'm just sick of Bama. We're talking about college football for those of you. The Crimson Tide. I'm just sick of them. I respect the shit out of Bama, especially Saban as a coach. But I don't know. When someone's winning so much, and they're just not that fun to watch either when they win. Like that Clemson-Bama game compared to Georgia versus Oklahoma, it's apples and oranges as far as excitement. So I'm rooting for Georgia against your Bama Crimson Tide. It's not that I dislike them. They're just not that fun to watch. I also think SEC so overrated. It's not even funny. It's not even funny how overrated they are. Let's see. Who do I see as champ at lightweight at the end of 2018? It's all predicated on what Conor does. If I'm a betting man, probably Khabib. And that's from at Zach Johnson with 2 Ks. At Steve GT4. Hopefully you have a GT4, Steve-O. What's your favorite color fruit pastel? Fucking red or purple, for God's sakes. Who would say yellow or orange? Come on, man. At Keto Greatness, @_Keto Greatness. NFL playoffs. Who do you like this weekend? The LA Rams, baby. Home team. Denver sucks balls, so I'm a Rams fan right now. Terrible question. At Problem like Marina. Your name's too long too, but that's whatever. Even though Khabib has never been champ, can he be compared to Jones? Sure as fuck can't. Doesn't fight often enough. Maybe he is 25-0, but you have to be more relevant. You have to beat better guys. You can't beat Barboza and be compared to John Jones. Should the UFC start making cheaper pay-per-view cards that are clearly not as good versus more expensive? Yeah, but once you go back, then people are going to have a problem paying forward. I do agree that they should, you want more people to see the heavyweight champion of the world, Stipe, maybe lower the price. Stipe and DC aren't exactly pay-per-view draws, but they're amazing fighters, and they should be. So, but once you downgrade the product, it's hard to go back. Ooh, that's a tough one. At u.rose97. You got Kardashian, Cardi B, and MJ. You got to kill, marry, or fuck one. Whew, okay. I'll marry Cardi B. I'll fuck Kim Kardashian. I'll kill MJ. At Flee My Flu. Why send questions? You answer back like 3 a week. Not today, bitch. Do I think Callan could beat up CM Punk? That's at DomLife89. Yes, I do. I wholeheartedly believe he could beat him up. At Ben1 Crowder. What was up with the sound on the UFC 219 card? Felt like you couldn't hear most of the commentary. Technically difficult, or UFC trying to phase out commentary? No, I don't think UFC is trying to phase out commentary. It's important, especially to your average listener. You need the commentary to break down what's going on. I think Dom just took over. That's what I think happened. I think Dom took over, which might not be a bad thing if you're a Dom fan, but I tend to like a little more Rogan than Dom. I'm biased. At Cloud Worldwide, what do you think about Jimmy Smith maybe being signed to the UFC as commentator? He is signing with the UFC. Can Lomachenko beat Mikey Garcia? Yes, I think Lomachenko beats Mikey Garcia, but it's a fun fight, and Mikey Garcia is so technical, sound, and tough, it's going to go all 12 rounds, and he won't quit. Guarantee he doesn't quit on the stool. At Steve Eyebrow. Hope you have a set of brows on you, Steve. At Brendan Schaub. Is Holly Holm You said Holmes. It's Holly Holm. I learned a tough way too. I got eaten alive on the internet for that. Just a one-time giant killer. Her claim to fame is a high kick. I just never understood the hype. I disagree with that. I don't think she's a one-time giant killer. She's beat some good girls. She's beat, she got fucked over in that Dranamine win. She went the distance with Cyborg. She beat Ronda when no one thought she could beat Ronda, when everyone was calling Ronda the Mike Tyson. She's fell on some hard times, but she's done a lot of good things too, man. I don't think she's overhyped. I just think Cyborg's a bad matchup for her. She got fucked by Dranamine. She got outclassed by Shevchenko. And the Misha Tate was a Hail Mary. Misha won that fight. But Holly Holm is one of the greats. Her record would beg to differ, but she is. At J Humper 3. What's the rumors of Mayweather versus Nate Diaz? There are none. I have no inside info for you. That ain't happening. At Travis _the_turtle _Trent. Dude, you got to shorten your name. How can I get a Portland signed poster? Come to Portland, I'll sign your poster. What was my fight of the year? Wasn't in MMA. It was Anthony Joshua versus Klitschko. At Javier Berg. What would be your game plan against Ngannou? Not to fight him. Or I'd come in with wrestling shoes and a singlet on and headgear and not strike with him at all. At Casey _Akai, what do you plan to expand on your career in the new year? Showtime in E and some other stuff in the works. Coffee Company 2 about to drop. At Kalowak, what are your thoughts on Mackenzie Dern's UFC debut? Love it. Glad she's in the UFC. One of my faves. At Josh R. Bate, you're getting put to death. What's your final meal? Am I still keto? Is it a cheat meal? Do I want to feel like shit?
Final meal is definitely whatever you want. Cheat, whatever.
Do I want to feel heavy and bloated as I'm getting put to death? Do I want to worry about my stomach and shitting my pants? These are all things I need to know, people. Probably pizza, though. A delicious pizza from Justa Takeaway. Does professional jiu-jitsu have the potential to grow like other aspects of MMA? Nope. That's from at John's Trend. It would have already happened, my man. If you were in your own movie, what would the title be? Fuck. Probably something Stay in Your Lane with Brendan Schaub. At Way Lugason, why do people keep underestimating Conor McGregor despite all his accomplishments? I don't think they're underestimating. The thing is, just like any professional sports team, whether you're a Lancaster fan, Real Madrid, Manchester United, Manchester City, people pick teams, and you always hate on the other team. So in fighting, people pick teams, and you always undermine the other fighter. It's no different. I don't think they actually dislike Mayweather, or dislike Conor, or dislike Tony Ferguson, or Khabib, or Anthony Joshua, or Deontay Wilder. But you pick teams, so everyone's pretty defensive of their team. But also, negativity feeds off a group. No one wants to be negative and alone. So negativity breeds. You go to YouTube, you go to Instagram where people allow haters. You go to YouTube comments, even Fire and the Kid or any channel, any Kevin Hart, The Rocks, anyone who has a YouTube channel. Look at the negativity that's bred in there. It's a community of negative people and Cheeto fingers. That's what happens. The world just keeps moving on. There's always going to be those people. At Turner M80, did it ever come out how Megan Anderson was injured against Cyborg for 221? Not injured, visa issues. Timing on the keto box and coffee at BComo333. Coffee, I'll say March. Keto box, March. How many more should we do? 2 more? I feel like we're flying through them. I feel like we should do that like this from now on.
That's actually better.
Right? So we answer more.
People like it coming out of your mouth, too, I think.
At Patterson Patty 86, how about some fat kid-sized shirts? Double X ain't working, my man? Put all biases aside, who do you think would win between Khabib Conor? Stuff to say right now. Depends if Conor catch him coming in. 5 rounds, the later rounds, we haven't seen Khabib in the later rounds, so great fight, though.
Still here.
Still here.
Still
Going through them. You got to get through the trash.
Trash. Do 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 do. Let's
do 2 more. There's some weird ones on here. At John Rod DWRX. Hopefully you have a Subaru WRX. After his performance against Barboza, does it change the way you view match between Khabib and Tony? No. I mean, people forget how goddamn good Khabib is at grappling, but I think you realize how bad his striking is in that fight. But other than that, I think you also realize how much of a badass Khabib is. I think that fight between Khabib and Tony starts on the ground. Any chance we can get Brian Brennan on a hunting show? Yeesh.
No? Yes, right?
It'd have to be the right thing.
Meat eater.
Let's find one more here. Sorry, guys. There's a ton of them to go through. What's the over-under? We can end on this one. Well, I'll do 2 more. So, at Anthony_Kogo, what's the over-under on the number of interim titles we have by the end of 2018? I'll say 4.
4? That's a lot.
Yeah, I'll say 4. And then at G.I. Josen, what's your training split look like weekly, and what's an exercise you find benefits that recommend that someone could add in the routine? Big Brown Breakdown all day. Appreciate you, man. Love you. My training split, I hit mitts 4 times a week with Glenn Holmes at Box and Burn. And then depending if we go an hour, if we go half an hour after, I do circuit training. So like today I hit mitts for 30 minutes and I set up a circuit of heavy tire flips, battle ropes, pull-ups, medicine ball slams, and jump rope. I do stuff like that. And then one day, usually on a Wednesday, I'll do just heavy deadlifts, and that's it. But like 10 sets of heavy deadlift. That's it. Nothing crazy. Should we end on that one?
Sounds good to me.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. That's fun. We got more questions answered. Appreciate you guys sending them. You make the show possible. First one, 2018. Thank you guys for listening. Man, big things in 2018. We'll have some news coming for you guys soon. But this Sunday on E! Golden Globes after show, I will be on that bad boy. It's not fighting, but should be fun. I'm the curveball up in there. So stay tuned for that. That's Sunday. And then tonight I'm at the Comedy Store. 2 shows. I think 10:30 Belly Room. I have to double check. But either way, if you go to the Comedy Store site, you will see it at the Comedy Store on Instagram. And then for my individual comedy dates, next week I'm in Portland Thursday through Saturday. 1 show Thursday night, which I think is sold out, and then Friday, Saturday, 2 shows each night. That's at the Helium in Portland, Oregon. And then February 1st, I'm in Denver at the Comedy Works downtown Denver. 1 night, 1 show only. That is also almost sold out. And then Friday and Saturday, 2 shows a night. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. Going to be a grand old time. And then March 1st, I'm in Vancouver at the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival. March 1st, my hour stand-up, Just for Laughs. And then March 2nd is the Fire and Kid live with Brian and myself. tfatkid.com for those tickets. Get them now. And then at the Comedy Store in La Jolla, basically San Diego, the 23rd through the 25th. I'm doing the whole weekend there. 23rd, 24th, 25th, 6 shows. Get tickets now. Comedy Store, La Jolla, San Diego. We will see you soon. TFATK for tickets. And also today at 5 p.m. Pacific on tfatk.com, we're releasing Beavis and Butthead themed Fire and Kid tees and the re-release of the original Abbott Kenny Fight Club hoodies. So get them now. And there's a Big Brown Breakdown shirt on there that I sold in person in Buffalo, but they sold so well, we decided to add more to the site. So go right now, tfatk.com. Get them 5 o'clock today, Pacific, tfatk.com. Thank you guys for listening. This was a fun one. Till next time, bigger, badder, browner. I'm Brendan Schaub. I'm out.